So organic, the reason I want to kind of focus in on organic is for a number of reasons, but mainly that this is the one of the labels that really does have some oversight. It has on-site inspection of the farm. There's a process to get the organic certification. There's there's a rigorous process around it. So this is the only label that really does have some teeth, some regulation around it. But the only thing with organic animal agriculture, the only thing that is required is that the animals are fed uh, feed that is free of pesticides and is organic, considered organic, and that the animals are drug free. And there's some regulation on access to the outside, depending on the species of animal, but that's it. All the other detrimental effects of animal agriculture, the methane release, the greenhouse gas emissions, water waste, water pollution, all of that, none of that is addressed with the organic label. That doesn't have anything to do with the organic label. So it doesn't, unfortunately, do a lot. And here's a chart to help you kind of visualize it. So we have three diets here. There's veganism, vegetarianism, and a diet that includes animal products. And of course, the green lines going across is the impact of those diets, how much impact on climate disruption. The dark green line on the bottom is conventional farming. The light green line above it is organic farming. So if you look down at the very bottom of the chart, and you've got that dark green line going across at the bottom, that's the standard American diet. That's what most everyone is eating. Now, let's say someone is inspired. They were just inspired by Earth Day, and they said, I'm going to eat more eco. I want to really, make my diet more green. I'm going to go organic. I'm going to buy all organic dairy and organic meat. Okay, well, you do make a bit of an impact. You go up to that light green line at the bottom, right above the dark green line, and you've reduced your impact by 8%. All right, that's something. But let's say the same person says, I'm inspired. I want to eat more eco. I'm going to go vegan. I'm going to eat all vegan. And now we're not even talking about organic, just conventional vegan food. Now you have dropped down to that top dark green line under the vegan diet, and you have reduced your impact by 87%. Now we're talking. Now there's some impact there, right? You can take it all the way and go organic vegan, and you've dropped down to that tiny little light green line at the top, and you've reduced your impact by 94%. But this just is yet another illustration again and again and again of how it's the animal products that are so impactful on the diet. Organic, yeah, it's a little helpful. Local, sure, a little helpful. Grass-fed, not so much. It's worse. But animal products, that's where the impact is. All right. So I'm going to wrap up the environmental section with this study. We're going to go back to big picture. And the Alliance of World Scientists, which is 15,000 scientists that are chosen from numerous countries all over the world, over 100 countries. They asked all these scientists to research what they felt would be the best thing an individual could do to reduce their impact on climate change. What is the most impactful thing that an individual can do? What they found and what they released, their statement is that they want to encourage people to avoid all animal products. And that's the number one most impactful personal choice we can make for climate disruption. They didn't say buy an electric car. They didn't say stop driving. They didn't say buy local meat. They didn't even say reduce your animal products. They said stop eating, avoid all animal products. So it just shows you how impactful this is. All right, so I want to switch gears in the end here and kind of go back to that concept of the humane hoax. and talk about language and labels and how we are being manipulated by these labels and this language. So this is a picture of a slaughterhouse. And this is in my area, is in Petaluma, California. And you just drive down Petaluma Boulevard, and this slaughterhouse is right on the main road. And it's been there for years, years and years and years. And it used to be called Rancho Veal, actually. It was a veal specific slaughterhouse. And but we have evolved now, and veal is, of course, been exposed to be the horror that it is, killing a baby. So that's not, in vogue, let's say. But these new ways of describing meat, new methods and new words. So recently, this slaughterhouse, they repainted. They were bought by Marin Sun Farm, which is a local grass-fed beef farm, and they repainted, and they put on the side of their slaughterhouse "Mindful Meats." And I was driving down the road, and when I saw this slaughterhouse with the new "Mindful Meats" on their nice whitewashed wall, I had to pull over. I had to pull over and take a picture, and I had to pull over and just do the proverbial face palm, and just, I was so appalled and shocked. And I mean, to think that anything mindful is happening in a slaughterhouse. I mean, and as a spiritual person, I was really appalled. Mindful, the word mindful comes from Buddhism. It's, it's that concept of meditation and mindfulness, of being aware of our actions, being aware of our relationships, being aware of how we treat ourselves, our bodies, all these things. And to have the complete oxymoron of mindful meats, I was just, it was mind-boggling. So this is what we're up against now. This is kind of the new challenge, the 21st century vegan activist, to try to dismantle this new terminology and this new language. And this is interesting. So there was a survey done by Sentience Institute, and it found that 58% of people that were polled think that farmed animals are treated well, and 75% believe that the products that they are purchasing come from animals that were treated humanely. 75%. The humane labeled products are only now maybe 3 or 4% of the market. How can 75% of what people buy, So what's happening is that the presence of these alternative and humane labeled products in the market, it's creating this false sense of security. It's making people feel that there is a industry-wide improvements, that everything's getting better, when that is not the case at all. It really, in reality, it's getting worse for the animals. These places are just getting bigger and more horrible. But they are assuming that this is an industry-wide trend and that things are getting better. So it's really insidious and very, very dangerous to have these products out there. Sentience Institute also proposes, I'll quote, this is a quote from them: "This suggests a psychological refuge effect where people justify their animal product consumption by incorrectly assuming that they're eating ethically produced products." So, just because it's a small farm, just because it's got a humane label, just because you met the owner or the rancher, it does not mean that there is not all of the standard industrial cruelties, the standard animal agriculture cruelties, the universal practices that I just went over. And it also doesn't mean that these animals weren't punched and prodded and kicked and tortured in terrible ways. Tormented. I interviewed people for my book, and there's quotes throughout my book about this, where these workers that were in small farms, family farms, that they saw animals tortured, poked with prods and with pitchforks and kicked with boots, and I mean, just horrible things. These animals endure unimaginable suffering. And the only humane choice is vegan. So I'm going to wrap up now. I'm going to give a last plug for my podcast, the Hope for the Animals podcast. And I started this during the pandemic. It was really crazy. I didn't realize that 90%, 95% of what I did with my activism was in-person events. I was either going to speak at an event, or I was organizing an event, or I was, it was all events. And when the pandemic hit, I was sitting on my couch in the springtime, which is generally so busy. And I was just shocked. I was like, everything is ended. What do I do? And I knew that I had to do something. I couldn't just sit there. The animals were still being slaughtered. The animals were still suffering. So I decided to start a podcast. And I'm about 27 episodes deep now. It's been a real experience and challenge, but it's been fun. And I have some amazing guests on. I have a great archive of all those past episodes now, and I release about 3 a month. So if you'd like to go to hopefortheanimalspodcast.org, it's really easy. It's just the name of the podcast.org. That's our website. You can listen to any of the episodes there, or wherever if you listen to podcasts, you can just, find me in iTunes or Spotify or any of those. And be sure to put us in your listening library if you listen to podcasts, and also giving a rating or a review on iTunes is so helpful. It bumps us up to get more people listening. So I would really appreciate that. And also, before I wrap up, I'm just going to say thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I apologize again for the late start and for a little bit of fluster of my fluster in the beginning, and possibly throughout, because of all the technical issues. But I did the best I could. I'm glad I was able to figure it out. We were able to figure it out and get through it. So this is, I guess my book also I'll plug in the end. It's The Ultimate Betrayal, Is There Happy Meat? I'm sure that it's available on the bookstore at the conference here. I'm pretty sure it is. And I'll end with this quote from my book. It is not our methods of animal agricultural practices that need to change. It is our unwillingness to let go of animal products and animal farming. Thank you.